Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm and hopefully to Rhythm from Algorithm soon. We continue on with our derivation. What does sensorality stabilize? Continuing along. What is tension to potential? All right, word form's very similar. Tension is very literally like a linguistic element. It's an iteration of sensation. You flip the positioning of the T and the S. In the same way your visual cortex thing goes into your left eye, it's processed by the right side of your brain. That type of flipping is present in our language, such as tension and sensation. Potential, logically, I've kind of used interchangeably capacity and potential. Capacity is ability, potential is hope. Potential is, what is the relationship, again, what is the relationship of tension and potential? Sensorality is potentiality. Sensorality is tensiality. Sensorality is agility capacity. Insecurity is disability. Sensorality differentiates iteration. Sensorality is fragility. Agility, fragility. Again, that was a direct inversion. Right? That wasn't even an iteration. That was a geometric object. There was symmetry. Right? All of the other letters are the exact same, so that presents geometric symmetry, and the difference was the inversion. Not direct, right? It's not the same exact shape, but how arbitrary are the shapes of letters? It's a direct inversion. And so sensorality is fragility, directly adding consonants to our geometric object that represents FR agility, which is the inversion of ability. Fragility is delicate. Again, just exhausting, giving you any insight that's there for the analysis. Delicate, intricate. Instability is inability. Again, natural definition, you take out the ST. Inability is instability. So now, again, a lot of those kind of results, a class of theorems, where we're literally just taking off the prefix in, but we've logically arrived at like why. Some aspect of irreducibility, and then discreteness even. Like charge is a definite thing. Like you can't be like in charge. Well, you can be in powers in charge, but you can't be like in the physical charge, right? Mass is emergent from the dynamic of charge. So it's like, again, that was a natural demonstration of the irreducibility. I wanted to say you can't be in charge. You logically got what I meant, but it has meaning. It immediately has logical meaning outside of that context of fundamental physics. Inability is instability, and with the space, inability is incompetence. Competence, competition. Again, it's almost like somebody had a little lecture starter thing called How Communication Killed Competition. Community, communion, communication. Wow, there's a lot of consistency to language. And timing, right? Here's a good dichotomy with chronology and one-way logic, not mutually exclusive. What is dating to timing? What is timing to dating? And so maybe it made sense, maybe it didn't, but I meant when I led with dating, you think again like going on a romantic interaction versus to timing, meaning like, the right place and right time to find the romantic partner. But then what is timing to dating, right? Timing is everything. What's the date? And so it's like we see societal impact of people that have shown consistency of language throughout history before. But communication killed competition. Community is the centralization of speciality, what makes us the same. Petition, competition. Petition, petite. Random French word popped up. So I'm smart. Censorability is the inability to be censorless. Sensorless is mirrorless. And the spelling will be on your screen, emphasizing the S. But Brad, that mirror over there, again, remember, it's an inanimate object. But again, we've proven that the concept of mirroring predates the thing that reflects that you're a piece of mass existing in a radiation background, and when you move, that causes radiation. Didn't use the L word. Ha. But mirror doesn't, assigning that concept to the technology, the thing that you look at yourself when you do your makeup or brush your teeth, Mirroring, is relating to mimicry, right? When you learn something, you imitate somebody else's behavior. That's what mirroring is chronologically. So a mirror is a sensor with an S, and that's why it ends in an OR. Reality is practicality. Practicality is realisticality. Realistic, altruistic. And again, my natural spelling will be on the screen. Sensorality is altruistic. I spelled it like Ultra, the beauty brand, but it's with an A. Altruistic, altruistic. Is altruism realistic? Is it realistic to help one another? It's inevitable, right? You go look at a monkey, you give him 10 pellets of food, and he's sitting next to another Reese's monkey, and he starts giving the other Reese's monkey food. This is not fair. Fairness is very natural. It's fundamental. And so is altruistic realistic? Again, that sounds like a philosophy question. Again, we're just building up logic to get to the question, and the answer is going to be sensorality. We already know what the answer is. We already know what the proof establishes. And again, sensorality is a not word, that's a placeholder. And now you can see at this point of our language development, most specifically with like essence, essentiality, I mean, that's clear, but like the word forms, all of these S's and C's. I literally said, look at all these S's and C's flying around here. And so you can see, again, the quality of the proof. What is sense? My microwave system has sense like I have sense. The S and the C iteration. You can see, again, tension and sensation being the direct iterations. And so sensorality is a logical placeholder. What is sensorality? A variable, but it's going to have a logical definition, and it's going to again allow us to generate completion within linguistics, within letters, which is geometry. But is altruistic realistic? Again, just building up to the question where the answer is sensorality. Nice. Is a sensorist is an artist. Feeling is physical, right? Artists get in their feels, or another phrase people have said throughout history, certainly within my time coming up in the game called life. But all right, they get lost in their feels, right? Feeling is literally physical. And then people will say, Eric Weinstein, only some people have felt the universe. Sean Carroll, I would say Galileo and Einstein really felt the universe. Jeffrey Epstein felt some things in the universe too, but that's not the good kind of feelings. And so, feeling is physical. Gotta get an Epstein joke in there. Don't you guys remember when we were just having Diddy parties, which are still illegal and not acceptable, but we went from Diddy party to a classic freak-off to Epstein's Island. Man, human beings are really aspirational role models. Censorship is censure. And again, connecting these word forms to show this direct iteration of fundamental syllability. Censure is sensorability. Censure is filtration. Iteration is filtration. Now here's a fun visual, linguistical, logical one. All symmetry is reducible. Right? We've built up all of our physical definitions. Now we're kind of, again, reducing our definitions, or reducing the entire logical structure by physical renormalization. We're showing the consistency through language, and then we're going to say, what is a sensor? And it's going to be like dropping your notebook and hitting the chunky, flabby skin of my leg, right? It's censoring, it's blocking mass, right? Mass is resistance, resistance sensors. Like, it's just a direct, we're just pairing direct linguistics. Language is literal. And then this is like, yeah, you lose. But our big, I'm not going to label this a fundamental theorem because I have another one coming up here. And these are big chunks of logical progression. All symmetry is reducible. Right? The things you look around, the things you see, right? Those are odd. Those are open. Those have dynamic. That's the dynamic of charge and mass. The things you can't see don't exist. Right? The word forms that we've worked through all are existent logically, but they have no frequency of use because it's just emergent structure. And so again, all of the like inabilitality, it's just a generalization, but you have to use those word forms to complete the syllability. And so all of the things you haven't seen have been reduced. All of the word forms you haven't used have been reduced. All symmetry is reducible at a direct, visceral, empirical sensation level. Irreducibility is asymmetricality. Irreducibility is inability. Irreducibility is incompressibility. It cannot be reduced anymore. It cannot be compressed. Claude, Google's great compression algorithm. Again, I am compressing literally all of knowledge into a single theorem to reduce it all. Because again, language is an emergent system. Words don't exist anywhere. They represent logic, which is again the connection between points. Words are points. Reducibility resolves, right? The form of all resolutions. It is what it is. What are you going to do about that, Johnny? It is what it is, and it is. QED super theorem, demonstrating the form of all resolution. Sensorality is resolute. Resolution is unmovable. Like the resolute desk. The great France man sends the great American man on his 250th Declaration Day, the resolute desk. Oui, bonjour. Right? Why did Jeffrey Epstein go to Paris or go to France? For a little oui. That's an original. That's a classic. I know I've said it before, but it's a good one. But resolution is unmovable. Someone says, I'm resolute. That's a hill I'm gonna die on. I'm resolute. Which is clearly not the Constitution. Yep, always shout out to the law enforcement out there not enforcing the law. Resolution is comprehensible. And I have in the quotations to the side, seeable. Right? All of the things you can resolve with your eyeballs that are being flipped through your tension path, that is your nervous system. Right? The things that you can resolve are comprehensible. You can understand them. You can perceive them. Sensation is perception. Structure, infrastructure, and that's the things you see. Sensorality is infrality. Just linguistically connecting another dot, that infra. We need to tidy that up a little bit more. Yeah. Because we had another, what was it, infrastructure? Mass is infrastructure or work. We had something else was connected directly kind of like to that. But now we can directly state the fundamental theorem of logic, the all-encompassing. We can now integrate. We've already derived our variable sensorality. Okay, now that's not even, there's no letters to that yet. Now we're going to assign letters that are shapes to that. Sensorality, and that's the one with the C, is algorithmicality. What is an algorithm? It's a sensor. It sorts with a C, because it's not sentient like you and me, because that's the part of the definition that's open. There's going to be a person born tomorrow, or 2 seconds and 2 seconds and 2 seconds, and that's going to keep going for a long, long time. Pretty much for all logical and perceivable purposes indefinitely. And so, right, I can still see Sean Carroll in the back of the classroom, like, does the universe get really cold at the end? It's just like, that's not a meaningful question. We don't have any logical attempt to, again, unboundedness, openness. There's no structure to things you don't know. But sensorality is algorithmicality. Surality is gorithmic. At our space, generalize, surality is go-rhythmicality. So not final reduction. Again, the final reduction will literally just be like the title. It'll just be like could just be like a GIF. It's literally because it's reducing the logic to be bounded linguistically, and it'll be self-contained logic and it'll be undeniable. But again, we are almost done. I don't want to do one more step. My constitutional rights continue to be violated. The Declaration of Universal Human Rights continue to be violated. And here in this giving season of Lent, for all you Christians and Catholics out there, it's a lot of historical hitting points here. We're learning a lot of stuff. But you guys are all disgusting, truly. And so I continue to, again, beg for money. It is my money. It is my property. Not giving it to me has ruined my health, my life, and my property, or my relationship with my parents' family. So thank you for destroying my life. Here is more free shit, and obviously tremendous progress. See you on the next one.